Don't worry, everyone. Everything's fine. I'm Darren, and this is 3 Things for Tuesday, July 16th. After announcing a 150% surge in quarterly profit, Goldman Sachs announced they are increasing banker pay along with bonuses by 17%, while saying they had a boost from business deals, which is one of their stalwarts. One has to wonder what kind of swaps and unrealized losses may be under the hood. The wealth gap keeps widening. Citing unconstitutional and unlawful acts, especially regarding special counsels, federal judge has dismissed the year-long document mishandling case against former President Trump heading into the 2024 elections. Credit rejection rates have risen to 21.4% from 18.7% in February. Banks are saying that there are fewer applications as well, although a survey, there was a little decline in those expected to apply in the future as well. Trade while you sleep across time zones with Arbitrage Trade Assist. Sign up today at arbitragetrade.com. Arbitrage Trade is your trusted source for business, finance, and tech info.
You may have heard that the American Legion helps honor our fallen heroes.
Or that the American Legion helped write the GI Bill, enabling veterans to get a college education.
And yeah, you've heard us tell a good story or two.
But did you know that the American Legion does so much more for our veterans?
From advocacy on Capitol Hill to serving others in our communities, the American Legion continues its tradition of strengthening America through service.
Learn more about supporting veterans in your community by visiting legion.org.
The economic impacts of hosting the Olympics. Caroline writes, in 1896, the first modern Olympic Games had approximately 280 athletes competing from 12 different countries. This year, the Summer Olympic Games will host over 10,000 athletes from more than 200 countries who compete in about 300 events. The Winter Games are smaller, but still host almost 3,000 athletes from 92 countries, competing in about 100 events. As the Games have increased in scope and size, so too has the cost of hosting. According to the Associated Press, Paris has spent at least $9.7 billion on Olympic expenses, of which $3.25 billion is estimated to come from French taxpayers. Cities take on these astronomical costs in the hopes that new developments, like railways, upgraded roads, airports, etc., benefit the city long term. However, a growing number of economists argue that the benefits of hosting the Games are at best exaggerated and at worst non-existent, leaving many host countries with large debts and maintenance liabilities. For much of the 20th century, the staging of the Olympic Games was a manageable burden for the host cities. The events were held in developed countries, either in Europe or the United States, and in the era before television broadcasting. Hosts did not expect to make a profit. Instead, the Games were publicly funded, and advanced countries better positioned to bear the cost due to their larger economies and more advanced infrastructure. In 1972, Denver became the first and only chosen host city to reject its Olympic bid, after voters passed a referendum refusing additional public spending for the Games. The 1976 Summer Olympics in Montreal has come to symbolize the fiscal risks of hosting. The projected cost of $124 million was millions below the actual cost, largely due to construction delays and cost overruns for a new stadium, saddling the city's taxpayers with around $1.5 billion in debt. As a result, in 1979, Los Angeles was the only city to bid for the 1984 Summer Olympics, allowing it to negotiate exceptionally favorable terms with the IOC, or the International Olympic Committee. More importantly, Los Angeles was able to rely almost entirely on existing stadiums and other infrastructure rather than promise lavish new facilities tied to the IOC Selection Committee. That, combined with a sharp jump in television broadcast revenue, saw Los Angeles finish the Games with a $215 million operating surplus. Los Angeles' success led to more and more cities bidding to host future Olympics. This allowed the IOC to choose the cities with the most ambitious and expensive plans. Bidding by developing countries more than tripled after 1988, with countries such as China, Russia, and Brazil eager to use the Games to demonstrate their progress on the world stage. Once a city wins a bid for hosting the Olympics, they commonly add roads, build or enhance airports, and construct rail lines to accommodate the large influx of people. Housing for the athletes in the Olympic Village, as well as at least 40,000 available hotel rooms and specific facilities for the events, must be created or updated as well. Because many sports require specialized infrastructure that will both need to be constructed specifically for the Olympics, they have limited use after the Games. In many cases, the enduring legacy of hosting the Olympics has been nothing more than a slew of abandoned and overgrown venues, many known as white elephants. These are expensive facilities that, because of their size or specialized nature, have limited post-Olympics use, the Council on Foreign Relations said. But just because an arena isn't being used doesn't mean it isn't costing its city money. For example, Beijing's famous Bird's Nest Stadium costs $460 million to build, requires $10 million a year to maintain, and has sat mostly unused since the 2008 Games. while almost all of the facilities built for the 2004 Athens Olympics, whose costs contributed to the Greek debt crisis, are now derelict. Oxford economist Brett Flyvenberg found that every Olympics since 1960 has run over budget at an average of 172% in real terms, the highest overrun on record for any type of megaproject. Revenues cover only a fraction of expenditures. For example, Beijing's 2008 Summer Olympics generated $3.6 billion in revenue, compared with over $40 billion in costs, and London's Summer Games in 2012 generated $5.2 billion, compared with $18 billion in costs. What's more, much of the revenue does not go to the host city or country. The IOC keeps more than half of all television revenue, which is typically the single largest chunk of money generated by the Games. Impact studies commissioned by host governments before the Games often argue that hosting the event will provide a major economic lift by creating jobs, drawing tourists, boosting overall economic output. However, research conducted after the Games shows that these reported benefits are questionable. As a study by the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development explains, the jobs created by Olympics construction are often temporary, and unless the host region is suffering from high unemployment, the jobs mostly go to workers who are already employed, blunts the impact of the broader economy. In 2017, the International Olympic Committee did the unthinkable. It awarded the 2028 Summer Games to Los Angeles without even making a call for other bidders, effectively conceding the point that finding willing and capable Olympic hosts has become exceedingly difficult. Competition among cities for the honor of hosting the world's premier sporting event used to be as vigorous as the competition among the athletes themselves. The modern Olympics has become an exceptionally expensive affair, but even the explosion of international sponsorship deals and global media rights has not been able to keep up with the skyrocketing costs of the event. Stop watching, start living using Pips, our AI bot. Go to ArbitrageTrade.com and check out Arbitrage Trade Assist.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear, call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Pips Pick of the Day. Arbitrage algorithms have detected a possible uptrend for Fibrogen Inc., that's FGEN, and they are headquartered in California. It's a biopharmaceutical company which engages in the discovery, development, and commercialization of novel therapeutics. This is a high-risk, high-reward play like many of these biopharm companies. Compass line just crossed over the primary line while curving upward, which increases the probability of an upward price movement. It started this yesterday, so the question will be continuation. Make sure you set a stop loss in case it bounces and goes the other way. Current price is $1.09, 52-week high of $2.93, 52-week low of 33 cents. We are not financial advisors. We provide an algorithmic AI bot service called Pips. Please do your own research.
Arbitrage Trade Analytics LLC is a privately held research company. Arbitrage Trade Analytics LLC is solely responsible for the preparation and distribution of the contents of this podcast. The opinions offered in this podcast are for informational purposes only and are not intended to function as investment advice. Seek a duly licensed professional for investment advice. For more information about the informational research and services offered by Arbitrage Trade Analytics LLC, please visit arbitragetrade.com.